Hello, my name is Erica Tellis, and I am with the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. You can visit the Haitian American Museum overhead at 4654 North Racine Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, or you can visit us at our website at www.hammock.org or email us at info@hammock.org, or you can give us a phone call at 773-213-1869. Today you are watching Parler avec Hammock, and we have a very great show for you today. Today I have my co-host with me today. Her name is Carlinthia Cox, and hello, and she is the community outreach co-director at Hammock. How are you today, Carlinthia?
I'm doing good. It's a little rainy and I just came off work. I'm a little tired, but I will try.
Well, we're so happy to have you today. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Hammock. So you're going to learn a lot about the Haitian Museum. And so hopefully after this show you will visit us. So can you please tell us a little bit about how you started working with Hammock?
So I began volunteering with the museum around the summer or fall, the end of summer, fall last year. And then I officially started working in January of last year. The museum kind of expressed what I want to do as a career, which is sharing and promoting Caribbean culture. The museum particularly tries to share and promote Haitian culture, which is Caribbean culture, and that's kind of how I became involved in the museum.
Oh, wonderful. And so, I got a chance to look through the website, and it seems like you have a lot of events going on at the museum. Can you tell us a little bit about the events that you have going on this summer?
Right. So the museum has 6 programs that runs year-round. There is the book club, which is actually coming up this Sunday. And
what book are you? Do you know what book they're reading?
Yes, we're reading Veil of Tears. It's a Haitian book. We always read books by Haitian authors, and it's this Sunday from 2:30 to 3:30. Okay. And what we do, we try to teach people Haitian culture through literature.
Awesome.
So, we read books by Haitian authors, or just books about Haiti, even if it's not written by Haitian authors.
Okay.
We also have our Copa Soirée, where we teach Haitian culture through Haitian dance. That one is typically the third Friday,
Okay.
of each month. We will not be having it this Friday, but we will resume the third Friday of next month.
Okay.
There is also the 2 art programs, because the museum is primarily for Haitian artists or any other artists to share their art. So we have the Spotlight program, which allows Chicago artists or any artist to come share their art in the gallery or in the museum. And there is a Scene program, which allows Haitian artists both locally and in Haiti to come exhibit their art at the museum. And we have our last program, I believe, which is the Vin Lakai program. That is a new program. The Vin Lakai program is a children's program. It's dedicated to teaching children about Haitian culture through art, dance, cuisine, folklore, and all sorts of ways where we feel like we could reach children and teach them Haitian culture. And it's not only for Haitian children, it's also for just children that are in the wider Chicago area. If you can come and you're interested in learning about Haitian culture, then you stop by.
What days does this event take place?
So the Vin Lakai started last Saturday, the 9th of July, and it goes through the 30th of July. So it's every Saturday up till the 30th of July. And we're going to take a break. Since this is our first try, we're going to make the month of July like a trial month. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to resume again in September.
What time?
It's from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And we have 2 sites just to make it more convenient for the kids. So there's one on the south side, which is the Bronzeville Children's Museum, and the north site, which is the Pan-African Association.
And all this information I can find on your website?
Yes, all the information you can find at www.hammock.org, or you can also visit our Facebook. That one's updated very frequently, and I know everybody's on Facebook.
Yes,
so you could
sure.
visit us at Haitian American Museum of Chicago on our Facebook, and we're sure to post it. It also has information about our book club and other events we have coming up.
Okay. Well, before we bring in our guests for today, I heard that you all are actually have a film coming out soon.
Yes. So, like I said, the museum was established to help share Haitian culture and to promote Haitian culture. So, we have a film coming up, which I would say for my next guest to explain a little more. But the film discusses zombies and in a contemporary setting. Like I said, I'll leave it for my next guest to explain a little more, but we'll be screening. We've had a few screenings of the film, and we'll be having our next screening on July 23rd at the Preston Bradley Center. Hopefully, those of you viewing can make it. Okay. But you won't be able to make it until he tells you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that information. We're about to bring in our next guest, and I'm going to step out. So thank you so much, Carlencia, for the information about Hammock. And we're going to bring in our next guest.
So, alrighty. So our next guest is Tom Close. He is the executive director of Crossing Borders Music Collective. Tom, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Could you give us a bit of a background of, who you are and what is Crossing Borders exactly?
Sure. I founded Crossing Borders Music about 4.5 years ago because I've been going to Haiti since 2000 and I teach music there. I'm a cellist. And I found over the years that there's this incredible repertoire of what we would call classical or Western style classical music by Haitian composers, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful, and almost nobody knows about it. And so I discovered this this music that I found so beautiful and so touching, and I started this organization to present a different side of Haiti than what we see in the news, which in all my years going to Haiti, about 16 years now, the Haiti that I see in the news has nothing to do with, or almost nothing to do with the Haiti that I see when I go down there, which is a country that's so rich in culture, in language, in religion, in art, and certainly in music. Alrighty.
So Tom, Erica asked me a while ago, and I didn't want to go into much detail about it because I wanted to leave that up to you. We know the Haitian American Museum will be having a screening for a documentary screening coming up on July 23rd. Do you think you can explain that to our viewers, what exactly the screening is?
Sure. So this is a project called the Zombie Origin and Evolution Project, and it's a collaborative project with the Haitian American Museum, Crossing Borders Music, also the Preston Bradley Center as a venue, and the artist Ben Salas. And this is an exploration through the arts of the zombie. So zombies are known to everybody through pop culture, through this image that has very little to do with zombie as a Haitian cultural practice. So probably most people don't know to be turned into a zombie, which is an actual thing that happens, is the ultimate punishment in Haiti, a country that's founded on a slave revolt, and is a country of people who so pride their freedom above anything else. And so somebody who is a very bad person, who perhaps in a place where either there's not such a functioning government-run legal system, or in parallel with a government-run legal system, there are sort of community councils, and they'll sentence somebody who's a very bad person to this ultimate punishment of becoming a zombie or a slave laborer. And so that's
pronunciation.
so that's the whole the reality. Now that image. Or the image that we have was shaped by these exploitative Hollywood films and TV shows and so forth that provide this image of Vodou, the Haitian folkloric religion, as being this bunch of evil witch doctors and so forth, and zombies as being these flesh-eating, scary monsters, and that image, I think, has really, unfortunately, supported U.S. imperialism, this idea that here's this country that's so backwards and needs to be saved by the United States, whereas in fact, as I'm sure you know, the reality has been anything but that.
So you're a music director, you're a composer.
So actually, I'm not a composer.
You get the composers, I'm sure.
Right.
Sorry, yes. If you could explain to us just a little bit of your involvement in the documentary directly, your choosing of the music, etc.
Sure. So in addition to exploring this idea of what zombie is in actuality and how it's been sort of appropriated or misappropriated. Also, there are a number of artists who have explored that topic in visual arts, and there's Ben Salas and Jean-Yves Hector are the two visual artists. Jean-Yves and Ben have both created some amazing artwork that I hope that you'll check out. That would be this Sunday at Preston Bradley Center. There will be gallery hours 2 to 5. And also at the screening event for this documentary, which will be at Preston Bradley Center on the 23rd of this month, Saturday at 7:30. And so you'll be able to see their art. And then there was also, our part in the project was commissioning these two Haitian composers to write music related to this topic and sort of explore the theme using music. So there's a whole bunch of brand new music that was just commissioned.
Right. So I was looking through some of the press releases out and just a bit about the film, and I noticed I was reading about a few of the composers you had whose music you used for the documentary, and I was particularly interested in Rudy because he seemed to write a few songs that created a story where he speaks about the superstition of zombie on one end, but then he speaks about more or less contemporary zombies where he classifies zombification as people with no soul, clocking in and out every day, that kind of thing. So could you just walk us through the story of his music? Sure.
It's interesting. He starts with a movement that invokes Papa Legba, who is the gatekeeper to the spiritual realm in traditional Haitian Vodou religion. So there's a movement invoking Papa Legba, and then he wants to tell both the specific story of zombie as understood in Haiti, but really a much more universal story. So these different movements that he's written that tell the story over the course of the quartet sort of depict that process of being turned into a zombie and being punished that way, a basically brain-damaged slave laborer in the Haitian tradition. But he says, look around you. Zombies aren't a phenomenon in Haiti. They're a universal phenomenon. Anybody, like you said, who's clocking into a job, doing something very monotonous, or even more so, I think you would say somebody who's working in a job, let's say, that they would consider soul-sucking, where they've traded what's most important to them for something that's convenient, and they've traded away their passion, or they've traded away their integrity or what's most important to them. And so this, while in one sense telling that Haitian story, it's really a universal story of all of us trying to keep what's most important to us and fighting for that. So I think it's a beautiful piece of music. There's a fantastic viola solo that at the very end that encapsulates that sort of fight to keep what's important to you, and then the piece ends with the movement Papa Legba, close the gate. So we end as we began, just as a Vodou ceremony would begin and end. So it's sort of closing off the closing that connection to the spiritual realm.
Right. So throughout the process of filming the documentary and talking to a couple of people in the documentary, where do you think most of the let's say some of your composers or some of the people involved in the documentary, especially particularly your Haitian composers, where do you feel like they stand in their belief of zombie? Because in Rudy's in his songs, I was a bit confused because you could see in somewhere where he sees the superstition, but on the other end, he I guess he's trying to make other people realize that zombie is not what Western society has turned it out to be. So where do you think a lot of them lie?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I would call zombie exactly a superstition,
right.
So much as a practice. And honestly, I'm not sure that it's such an important part of Haitian culture. It's just a part that was, because of what it is, punishing somebody, brain damaging them, turning them into a slave laborer. There are reports of people being buried alive and then dug up, and that may or may not actually be the case. But because of the specifics of that practice, it's just sort of an area of Haitian culture that was just kind of ripe for exploitation, because it seems so dark. I think anybody who actually sort of understands the cultural context would understand that it's the reality is much different than the image we get. So I think Sabrina Jean-Louis, who's the other composer involved, and Rudy Perrault, on the one hand, recognize that of course it's a practice that exists. I think, as far as I know, it's quite rare. But also, Rudy especially is very upset about the way that Hollywood has made lots and lots of money exploiting that image, turning it into something that it's not.
Alrighty, now we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Thank you for taking my phone call. I'm curious, I've been hearing a lot about zombies as a kid, and they always had a negative connotation, and it's just interesting to hear you talk about it from this perspective. How did the zombies get this reputation that we have in the Western culture?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not the right person to tell you all about the history of which movies came along first. But the general idea, like I was saying, I really believe is let's, whether consciously or not, let's show this country as a country that is backwards, that needs to be saved by the United States and so forth, with films like Night of the Living Dead and so forth. What's interesting, neither have I. What's interesting is that the in Haiti, being turned into a zombie is what one should be afraid of, and here it's being sort of attacked by zombies that one should be afraid of. So just over the decades, that image, I think they were originally called ghouls, but then the zombie name came along and it stuck.
So now in your documentary, I just wanted to move back to that again. Rudy's set of songs seem to match up perfectly with the documentary, but your other Haitian composer, Sabrina, she seems to be singing more about the cultural aspect of Haiti. So she wrote a song, if I can't quite recall, but it's about coffee, and she spoke about the smell of her aunt's coffee, I believe, on a morning. What were you thinking when you chose Sabrina and you picked some of her songs for the documentary? What relevance does it have in the documentary?
Yeah, so all of the music is commissioned through a generous grant. The whole project is funded in part by a generous grant from the Chicago Community Trust. And so Rudy, I know, is a fantastic composer. We play another string quartet that he wrote that's just very moving, very powerful, very dark. Sabrina, on the other hand, is a young composer who's 22 years old. She's studying agriculture in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And she's just tremendously, tremendously talented. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to sort of expose people to her beautiful, beautiful music, her incredible sort of self-taught compositional talents. She started composing at 14 before she knew the word composer. She just heard the music in her head and started writing it down. I wanted, because they're such great composers, I wanted to commission them, and then they had pretty much free reign to approach the topic however they wanted. So Sabrina wrote some pieces that were inspired by Haitian culture, including, actually, as did Rudy, they both wrote movements or pieces inspired by Rara. So Rara is a cultural practice with roots in West Africa, where people walk through the streets. It's a harvest time Lenten processional. They make music by playing these vaccine, which are these bamboo horns and these interlocking rhythms, and they strike pieces of metal, and it's a party. It's a great time. So it's really neat, I would have to say, having what you might call classical string quartets that are inspired by this rah-rah music. So that's one of the pieces that she wrote. And then I think you also mentioned she wrote a piece called The Smell of Coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, so she wanted to capture, I found out she doesn't drink coffee herself, but she wanted to capture the feeling when her aunt brews coffee in the morning, and it's this sort of happy, exciting feeling that she gets just by smelling the coffee. So it's capturing that
now,
feeling.
I'm interested though. Haitian music is, currently Haitian music like Rara and Kopa, it's not very, in my opinion, similar to classical music. So what is their process in turning, Kopa and Rara into classical music?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So they use, Haitian classical composers in general have a number of different techniques that they'll use. They may quote folk melodies. They may use the sorts of rhythms that are found, and the especially interlocking rhythms that are found in, for example, Rara or musique racine, roots music. And they may also write sort of a folk-style melody that is not actually a Haitian folk song, but sounds like a Haitian folk song. And then some will take a Haitian folk melody and make some sort of beautiful arrangement to create music. So a lot of different ways that happens.
Now, so the film is about zombies. How has the turnout been in terms of the Haitian community coming out and viewing the film? Because as we know, a lot of people have a very negative perspective on zombies. How has the Haitian community reacted to the documentary?
Yeah, so I have not seen so many Haitians at these events, and I think there's first of all many Haitians are devout Christians, and because this project touches on voodoo, they may not be interested in participating, which is fine. Also, I think, in speaking with many Haitians, especially, for example, the Field Museum's voodoo exhibit, even without seeing it, they think, okay, here we go again, another exploitative exhibit, even though it was curated by a Haitian anthropologist who's also a mambo, a Haitian priestess. So I think just with that history, it's there's sort of a expectation that it may be exploitative.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much, Tom, for joining us here today, and we hope to see everybody else at the documentary screening on July 23rd at the Preston Bradley Theater, and we hope everybody could join us next time, where we will be discussing the Haitian program Vin Lakai, and we'll tell you all about it, how the children enjoy it, and how you can get your kids involved in the Haitian American Museum and in Haitian culture. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and see you guys next time.